Three
I'll
things.
tell you the first thing is a must is education. That's one thing which was on the top of the list for my family. And trust me, I can tell you with my own guts, if it was not for that education, and most importantly, if it was not on shop floor training, I wouldn't be what I am today. Drop the family ties, drop everything. If I am anybody today, it's only because of a very, very strong educational background with a exceptionally stronger training.
And what's one more thing? Education, great training. And
Of
what
course.
would make that person successful? What quality of that
The
person?
only other thing which I feel is passion towards family and work. I think this.
So using education as a filter. See, if you can get through a great education, you've been well trained, and you really like your family business, that's your views, Ranjit.
I agree with Abhishek on the first one, being education, no doubt
Okay.
about it. I don't think anyone could dispute that.
We don't think education ruins all these kids. All the successful people don't seem to have it.
I think a case can be made, no doubt. As you said, a case can be made for people without a formal education also being successful. But I think an education helps.
Okay.
I don't think it guarantees anything.
Okay.
You could still be really well educated and still not do anything with your time or life.
Yeah, I've experienced that personally.
Right. So, so education, no doubt. I think the second thing is your ability to respect other people's opinions.
Respect.
Other people's opinions. And I think a lot of that comes from being in a family or in a family business where without consensus or the ability to find consensus, you could never be successful.
But don't I have a right? I have a right, isn't it? Why should I respect? I mean, isn't rights more important?
I think you're right. You have a right in so far only as you have a right to express your opinion. I don't think you have a right to push through an agenda.
Okay.
There has to be through consensus.
Beautiful. And the third point?
The third one, I think, I mean, at some point you have to know for yourself, is this what you want to do? Not because you have it and you can, but really do you want to do that? Maybe I'm just better off working somewhere for someone, and I'm happy that way. With just an income that I know is going to come in. Conviction.
So in your mind, good education, ability to respect other people's views and while having your own. And third is have conviction. This is what you want to do. You want passion. You want passion is good, but you also want conviction. You want a rational conviction. So Sukumar, it will be very easy for you.
I think the first point I felt when I got into the business is irrespective of where you're put in, make the best of what you have. It may not necessarily be your first love that you're getting into this kind of a business, but the minute you're in, and if you're in a family and you are pushed indirectly or directly into a particular path.
Is this some kind of karma thing? Or?
I was just coming to that. I was not really going to karma, but I was going to use the word dharma over here. I would say that you have a professional etiquette. See, irrespective of whether you're an owner or not, once you're working in a particular environment as a professional, you've got to have that professionalism in your business. So I would say the first thing that is very, very important is to look and view the kind of business you're in a sort of a philosophical note where you accept what you have, make the best of it. So there's no point in cribbing and saying, oh, my dad pushed me into this, I've got into this. Try and make the best of it. I think the second most important quality is a lot of hard work. You have to sacrifice a lot of things. There's no shortcuts to success. You just got to be in it and you've got to slug it out. Nothing comes easy, it's 99% perspiration. And the third thing is, I think you've got to let go at some time. You've got to also be, again, coming back to point number one, you've got to be in a fairly, taking off what Pendurthi said about the, you have to have a consensus approach. Be as far as possible, I know it's not very easy to be in an egoless state, but then try and keep that down as much as possible and try and build consensus, evolve, listen to people, keep your eyes and ears open for opportunities.
So basically, this is a very spiritual part, and I love it because we are investors and we see investing as a completely spiritual exercise. Egolessness. No, I'm very serious because this egolessness, our view doesn't really matter. We have to look at what the investment wants, a lot of hard work. But I think a lot of kids, and I see a lot of them in the room, also want to have fun, right? They want to enjoy this experience. This didn't seem enjoyable to me.
No, it is very enjoyable. The minute you start loving your work, you enjoy every moment of it.
Okay.
So it's
So
absolutely.
is it back to passion?
It's back to
Back
passion.
to passion, okay. So great, now we have this very interesting summary for you, Srinivas. There seems to be broad agreement that education is important, right? Even though I sometimes think all that education teaches you to enjoy the different things in life too much. But anyway, that's just a point of view. Second is planned training. I think you also said the point. Third is passion, love your work, accept it as a sort of dharma, dharmic thing that has come to you, but do it with conviction. So a rational passion, rational acceptance seems to be a point of view. There's a tremendous amount of from both Ranjit and Sukumar about ability to have consensus, go along with building consensus. Your opinion is fine, but the consensus opinion is very, very critical. And I think hard work, which I think all of them have done in spades, so that really stands out. So what's your view? Is this the new family business profession? Because this is like a very tough job from what I'm seeing. And it really takes the best of the best. To get a great education, great training, work hard, love what you do.
Okay, the stuff I want to talk about here. When we used to say that I am part of family business, there is a general perception that, oh, it's unprofessional even. That's the general perception.
These are all very professional guys.
Sure. So let me just explain. So what happens is that in world there are only two kinds of business. One is called family business, another is called non-family business. And both family business or non-family business can be run either professionally or unprofessionally.
Perfect.
It depends on what kind of some of the basic values and culture which are in place. Some of the points I want to add here is that one is the education, of course, it does play a part, very little part though, extremely little part. The second part is the outside experience. Once these successful family business next generation people go and work outside for a few years, it brings down their ego. And so they are not going, so some bit of tinker tackling takes place to their psyche. So they are a little bit level headed. That's number one. Number two, in the old business, family business model, there used to be, I mean it's still there, a concept of master-servant relationship between the owner and other professionals. I am paying, so I am the master, all you guys professionals are basically my servants. You, whatever designations you want to have, you can have, but basically you are a servant. That was the orientation. And it still runs in many family businesses across the world, especially in India. So what happens here, if that cultural value system continues in that family business, how much ever educated this guy is, how much ever outside he is beaten up while doing his 3 years internship for working for some company, the moment he comes and sits here, he does not wear a hat of a manager. He wears the hat of an owner and tries to go and do the managerial job. So there is really no professionalism. If he wants to wear the hat of an owner, he better sit, one if he is in the shareholders meeting or in the board meeting, he should learn to wear that hat. Owner's hat. So the key to professionalism is that, look, am I operating here as a manager? It's a role. And I should be fully conscious of that role. I should be fully conscious of that role, what I'm playing here. That's number one. Couple of other things in terms of these owners. Many of the family business owners, next generation or the first generation, there is no proper review system is being put on them. Nobody reviews them. There is no accountability. In fact, as they have the highest corporate governance in India is next to, it's really in a bad shape. I mean, I read an article a week back in in Economic Times, the concept of independent directors, it really doesn't exist in India. I mean, all the friends and relatives and extended friends are being put on board. Or if other consultants who are being heavily paid, they are the independent directors. So there is no accountability. So when they are not being reviewed, there is no question
So you
of...
put a system of appraisal in place.
Absolutely. So once we put a proper PMF for the family members, I have seen the transition taking place, where the professionalism starts to slowly come into the system. And also the concept in today's world, if you want to really grow, in the olden style, they used to grow based on many family members. They just come in and based on that they used to grow. Today, if you want to grow your business, you have to depend on professionals. And if you are going to bring in professionals, you have no choice but to treat them as intellectual partners. If you are not ready to give them that respect, they will walk out.
But I'm just curious, right? If you're going to professionalize family members, which I think is absolutely critical in a competitive environment, because the most important thing that I see looking at this private equity investors, today India is not about globalization or any of those organizations. It's about competition. When you have these million kids leaving engineering and MBA each year, right, they are the top 2-3%. They are getting into business. The competitiveness of India, whether it's in business, whether it's in career, whether it's in anything, is so high that they have to be professionals to be successful. I fully agree with you. I think the question I'm asking yourself is, if family members can become professionals, isn't it time that all of us in this room, family businesses, try to make professionals into family members? I'm not saying, get your daughter married to them. That's the oldest trick, right? That's what the kings did for 2,000 years. Right. No, but I'm just asking a simple question. How do we make them not only feel like family members, give them equity like family members? After all, I grew up in a family business where our most senior, most respected person was a professional. Actually, we went to him for all our issues. In fact, he's still with us, 50 years. And we respect him just like a family member. In fact, we respect him more than most family members, to be honest.
Right.
So, why can't we make family business also into the professionals into family members?
Yeah. See, basically, I classify the professionals into 5 categories when they work in families and business. The first category, I call them as associate members, that they are always cat on the wall. You will never make them commit because it is running in their head all the time. Should I be here? Should I not be here? Should I be here? Not be here. So that's the first category. Second category is a professional membership. That means this person is committed to what he is committing. So he is committed to himself, and whatever he is promising, he will deliver. So he is got a profession. They are the blue-blooded professional members. You have to ensure that motivation is up, whatever the ESOP, this, that, etc. And if you are not able to give the opportunity and appetizing challenge for them, they will leave. That's the professional membership. The third membership, I call them as institutional members. So this is where it starts to warm up. So where you see people who are ready to do and die with you, who are ready to commit to your cause, who are ready to say that I am ready to go beyond the blue-blooded professional means.
So they want to be part of the institution.
You want to be part of the institution. So I am ready to take a long-term punt. So that's when they start becoming. They are going to become. They are becoming the part of this family.
And the next step?
The next step, the fourth membership is co-founding membership, co-founders. So that's the
It's very common these days.
very common. In India, it's becoming big time. So these co-founders are basically who share the same passion, same vision, same purpose with this family, entrepreneur, first generation, second generation, or whichever generation they are. They are ready to co-build the business. So that is where actually they become an alter ego of the family. They are part and parcel of the whole family.
Fantastic. No, thank you very much. So basically we're saying that not only the family members become professionals, but professionals can gradually and have become the reality as family members in the sense of the treatment, and that really strengthens the family. So coming to our last round, right? And we sort of the whole idea of this panel, and I hope it's working for you, is to basically take issues of entry, take issues of what kind of person, what is that role model, right? And it's very important to define role model because according to, again, the research done by Metis, what we see is that 44% impact on the profit in family businesses comes from the leader, whereas the same number, only 15 to 17% in a completely institutionally owned business. It's about 2.5, 3 times more important, which makes huge amount of sense. So, given that, I think I'd like to go to the main theme and the last round, and then we will like quickly get into questions. So, like all of us be brief here, and that is to ask the question: what is success in succession? So, if you know this is the family business professional, these are your own experience, and you have to define succession. So each of you, just in your own personal context, right? How would you define a successful succession? We know that 60%, again, from Metis research, of families in India actually have conflicts, which create disruptions in the family. Right? We know that only 3 out of 100 go to 4th generation. These are all very daunting statistics. And yet, if family businesses did not institutionalize succession, this country wouldn't exist, because family businesses have built this country, and they only have the stamina to make this country stronger and stronger. Emerging market more so than any other place. Family business is the very fabric, borrowing your name, of success. So given that your prescription for your own succession to be successful.
Yeah. I think I have a slightly contrarian view to some of the points which Mr. Gurumurthy had raised about, I think ultimately every individual is an individual. For my son, he's on a platform, yes, he can walk in and say, he does an education and he goes through all that, the ropes, and then he comes back to business. But I think one has to give an individual a greater opportunity. And here the biggest thing I think my son enjoys is he's got a fair amount of wealth on a platter. But I'm not saying he's got to earn that wealth. I just think that he's lucky and he's got so much. But he does not necessarily come to the business, because I would like him to think for himself, explore the world, explore career options, do whatever he wants to. So to me, succession is taking off, talking about getting the professionals as part of the family. And that's what I think I've been fairly successful in my business. I have an attrition rate which is as low as 5%. All my senior managers have been with me for the last probably 15, 20 years. They've grown with me. So we've grown together as a family, and we've built this enterprise together. So I personally believe that you've got to professionalize if you can, and I'm not talking about, if my son does come back or, whatever, that's up to him. It's one of the options. But it's not the only option. And I don't believe in, names being carried on. That's a point of difference I had, saying that, my surname should be on with the next, manager and so on, or the next owner. But the ownership, I think, has to be retained more professional, where you've got shareholders, where you can broad base your organization. Maybe there is a substantial stake with the family, because what you built on, but not necessarily the management has to be with the family.
So you're looking at the separation of management ownership,
Yes.
and even basically with wealth, succeeding in wealth, but not necessarily in management, I guess. That's great. And today I think with organizations and wealth management, it's possible to do that in a very professional way. Your views, any of which of...
I think today the times are different in the sense that today the children, I think, have a lot more opportunities to explore careers. The career alternatives are so many more. So this may not necessarily be the best one, or they want to choose, or the most attractive one for them. But having said that, I
So
think
you're saying it's not really a choice, but the plethora of choices they have. Right from the architects, musicians, doctors, politicians.
And you're always telling your kids while growing up that you should do what interests you most, do what you like, go after that. And then suddenly you can't do a U-turn, midway through their life, when they really come to making their choice, saying, hold on one second, all that I told you was not really true. This is what I really want you to do. Because that's not how you're bringing them up today. But I think in terms of succession, it should be the best man win. If your family,
Meritocracy.
and you said 44% of the profits are being delivered, in family businesses through leadership, right? It's not necessarily because of only the family leader or the business head, the first generation, second generation. It's because you have a very good set of people who've grown with the business,
team at the top.
who've grown with the business. So your senior people, right? If they are genuinely better, they are also somewhere playing a role in that 44%. Right? And I think if they are genuinely better, it's maybe you just take a back seat and compare yourself.
They are better because the leader is creating the tone at the top for them to be comfortable, be empowered, and be aligned, right?
Right, but the
Just
second
to add a
generation.
point here, see the statistics have been done on 44% of profits being contributed by the leader. But let's also find out what is the statistic of what is the percentage of losses also caused by the leader. There are a lot of companies who also feel it probably.
That's 44% to reduce. It says weightage is 44%. So half the accounting, essentially you have to blame for half the problems, you are the hero for half the success.
So I think people play a very big role, and I think if they are genuinely
So I
better,
think you're going on this theme of choice and not adding meritocracy to it.
it has to be. So I don't think there's any other way going forward.
Sir,
I'm actually deliberating on this point in my head. What is the key success to succession?
I just wanted to know what the Munim had to say. I think it's really in my mind. I will ask you after the conversation. But he must have been the most interesting point of view to have this kid, gold medalist, London School of Business sitting next to him, and then you had the humility and the open-mindedness to appreciate him. Anyway, let's just have the conversation after dinner. So,
The key success to succession, I would feel, if, in fact, I can tell you from personal listening, there will be hours and hours where my dad and uncle have sat down with me and have basically they have modeled the entire organization into a particular thought process. I do not come from that thought process, but that 6 years which I did spend in my family business, there have been hours and hours of mentoring.
what would you do in your business? I want to know what you are going to do 20 years down the road, knowing that this must be a choice, it must be a meritocracy, it's intensely competitive, and you want your kids to have, from what I sense, a different experience.
Yes. All of this put in, okay, but ultimately after the choice, simple, if it is yes or no. If it is yes, you want to join the family business, I would still tell him to go to the shop floor because I want him to get hands-on training. There's nothing ever better on hands-on training. Personal experience. Two is a thought process mentoring because you have a thought process about how this organization has been built. The culture of the organization.
I didn't hear about, and I just want to maybe interject here. I always thought mentorship, right? Normally in the olden days, you always have your son/daughter mentored by uncle because father and son never went together. And always, mentorship is such a crucial thing in success. For me, the little bit of mentorship I got is the only reason I succeeded. Are you?
Well, I had typically to say a dad and an uncle. So, in fact, I always put up this point. My dad is the one who gave me the brain. My uncle is the one who gave me the heart.
He was your mentor.
Yes.
So would you build that into your succession plan in case the choice was yes?
Yes. I would definitely the same. Mentorship, I felt, is very, very important because that is what takes, for example, my dad was very clear if I want Abhishek in the next 15 years to head this and here. And that's why he mentored me to every division, every this thing. We have 3 vertical business verticals. Every vertical, he specifically went through those details, which I felt was very, probably if I would do it 20 years later, I think I would do it more differently.
Excellent.
I'll be very
Working
quiet.
from the bottom,
Yes.
mentorship. So I think Dixit, you heard from very, very interesting. All of them had the word choice. It's so powerful. Your brief words.
I mean, I wish that it happens in the normal life. It actually doesn't. Let me share my experience. First of all, the business needs to be classified first. Is it a family business or is it not a family business?